The message from Dad lit up my phone screen during my morning coffee at the penthouse office I'd never shown my family. Annual shareholders meeting today. Serious investors only. Maybe next year when you understand business better. I gazed through the floor-to-ceiling windows at the Manhattan skyline, particularly at the building where Peterson Global Industries, my family's company, would be holding their meeting in 2 hours. The same company that had been quietly becoming mine share by share for the past 3 years. Miss Sarah. My assistant Kevin appeared with the morning reports. The final share purchase cleared overnight. You now own 67% of Peterson Global Industries. Perfect timing, I smiled, setting down my coffee. And the proxy votes? All aligned with your directives. The board has no idea you've consolidated control. He paused. Your father still thinks those shares are split among different investment groups. Another text buzzed through, this one from my older brother James. Dad's right. These meetings are for people who actually contribute to the company. Stick to your little investment hobby. My little investment hobby had actually amassed a portfolio worth billions, all carefully hidden behind shell companies and investment groups. While they thought I was playing with my trust fund, I'd been orchestrating one of the largest silent takeovers in recent corporate history. Kevin, what's the current market value of my hobby? I asked, already knowing the answer. Your personal portfolio just crossed $8.2 billion this morning. That's not including your controlling interest in Peterson Global. I picked up my phone to read the latest family message. This one from my sister Elizabeth. Don't feel bad about the meeting, sis. We all know finance isn't your strength. Let's do lunch next week. I'll give you some investment tips. The same sister who lost $40 million in her last venture wanted to give me investment tips. The irony would be delicious if it weren't so tragic. They're gathering in the boardroom now, Kevin reported, checking his tablet. Your father just began his usual speech about family legacy and strong leadership. I stood up, smoothing my Armani suit. Is everything in place? Yes, Miss Sarah. The SEC filings are public as of. He checked his watch, 3 minutes ago. Financial news networks should be picking up the story any moment. Right on cue, my phone began buzzing with notifications. The business world was about to discover that Peterson Global Industries had a new majority shareholder. One whose identity would shock the family that had just banned her from their meeting. Your brother James is now announcing their expansion plans. Kevin continued monitoring the meeting feed. The ones you already vetoed through proxy votes last week. I picked up my briefcase. Time to make an entrance? One moment. Kevin quickly adjusted my collar. There. Now you look like someone who just became one of the youngest female CEOs in New York. The private elevator opened directly into my executive floor. The one none of my family knew existed in the building next to theirs. The wall of screens showed business channels starting to run the breaking news. Mystery investor gains control of Peterson Global Industries. Have the car ready, I instructed Kevin. And ensure all security personnel know their positions. When those boardroom doors open, I want everything perfect. Already done. Oh, and your mother just texted. I checked the message. Darling, these meetings are so boring anyway. Let's go shopping instead. You need to start dressing more like a businesswoman if you ever want to be taken seriously. If she only knew about my private collection of designer power suits, each one worn to close another multi-million-dollar deal. While they thought I was shopping at department stores, I was shopping for companies. Kevin, is the documents folder ready? He handed me a sleek leather portfolio. All the proof of share ownership, voting rights, and legal documents are here. Plus the new organizational chart showing you at the top. I took one last look at my reflection in the window. Behind me, the Peterson Global Industries building stood tall, its boardroom visible from my office. Through the telescoping lens on my desk, I could see them all gathered there, completely unaware that their company now belonged to the daughter they just banned from their meeting. Miss Sarah. Kevin held the door. It's time. I picked up my phone to send one final message to the family group chat. Don't worry about saving me a seat. I'll be bringing my own. The elevator ride to Peterson Global Industries' executive floor was swift and silent. Security guards, who now ultimately answered to me, nodded respectfully as I approached the boardroom. Through the frosted glass, I could hear my father's confident voice. And so, fellow shareholders, our 5-year expansion plan will cement the Peterson legacy. Kevin checked his tablet. Perfect timing. CNBC is breaking the news now. Right on cue, phones began buzzing inside the boardroom. I could hear the confused murmurs growing. "Excuse me, Mr. Peterson, that was Bernard Walsh, our longest-serving board member. But there seems to be some confusion. I'm seeing reports that controlling interest in Peterson Global has been acquired by..." The boardroom doors flew open. I stood in the entrance, Kevin 2 steps behind me with the documentation. "By me," I finished for him. The scene would have been comical if it weren't so symbolic of their years of dismissal. Dad frozen mid-gesture at the podium, James choking on his premium water, Elizabeth dropping her Mont Blanc pen, and Mom's perfectly manicured hand flying to her throat. "Sarah." Dad's voice cracked. "This is a private meeting. Security." "They work for me now," I said calmly, walking to the head of the table. "In fact, as of 9 a.m. this morning, everything here works for me. Including you, Dad." "Impossible," James sputtered. "You don't have the capital or the business acumen to." Kevin stepped forward, distributing documents to each board member. "Ms. Peterson's acquisition of controlling interest is completely documented. Through various investment vehicles, she now owns 67% of all voting shares." Elizabeth grabbed the papers, her hands shaking. "These investment groups, Morton Holdings, Azure Capital, Winterstone Investments, that was all you. While you were giving me investment tips about penny stocks," I smiled, "I was building a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. Those shopping trips you mocked? Usually acquisition meetings. That little hobby Dad laughed about? Now worth more than the rest of the family's holdings combined." Mom's voice was barely a whisper. But you never showed any interest in business." "No, Mother. I showed plenty of interest. You all just never showed any interest in my ideas." I turned to the stunned board members. "Speaking of ideas, let's discuss that 5-year plan. I have some changes." "Now wait just a minute," Dad tried to regain control. "You can't just walk in here and..." "Actually, I can. Kevin, please pull up the shareholder voting records." The large screen behind Dad flickered to life, showing voting percentages that confirmed my complete control. "That expansion into commercial real estate that James championed? Cancelled. The merger Elizabeth arranged with our competitors? Terminated. And Dad's pet project of traditional energy investments? We're pivoting to renewable technology instead." James stood up, his face red. "You don't have the experience to..." "My personal portfolio outperformed yours by 3,000% last year," I cut him off. "How much did you lose on that Bitcoin investment again?" Elizabeth tried a different approach. "Sarah, sweetie, maybe we should discuss this as a family. Like you discussed banning me from this meeting as a family?" I raised an eyebrow. "Or like you discussed giving my project funding to James last year because he understands the market better?" The board members were now staring at their phones, watching Peterson Global's stock price surge as the market reacted to my takeover. "The stock," Bernard Walsh muttered. "It's up 30% just on the news of new leadership." "The market," I said, taking my place at the head of the table, "apparently has more faith in my business acumen than my family did." Dad made one last attempt. "The other shareholders won't stand for this. We have alliances." "Had alliances," Kevin corrected, displaying another screen. "Ms. Peterson has already spoken with major institutional investors. They're quite impressed with her vision for modernizing the company." "Modernizing?" Mom looked faint. "But we're traditional." "Traditional is what lost us market share for 3 straight years," I replied. "Traditional is why our tech division is a decade behind. Traditional is why our younger talent keeps leaving for more innovative companies." I stood up, buttoning my jacket. "Now, shall we begin the actual meeting? I have rather a lot of changes to announce." "Changes?" James barely whispered. "Yes. Starting with the board composition. Dad, James, Elizabeth, you'll be receiving severance packages. Generous ones because unlike you, I understand the value of family connections. But your executive positions are being filled by people who earned them through merit, not birth." The silence in the room was absolute. "Oh, and Mom," I added. "About dressing more like a businesswoman?" This suit cost more than your car. I just never felt the need to show off. Until now. 1 month after the takeover, I sat in my newly renovated CEO office, reviewing the company's transformed performance metrics. The stock had risen another 45%. Our new green technology division was making headlines, and employee satisfaction scores had hit record highs. A knock at my door interrupted my review. "Ms. Peterson, your family is here for the scheduled meeting." I glanced at the clock. Right on time for their first official shareholders briefing, as minority stakeholders. "Send them in, Kevin." They entered like chastened schoolchildren, Dad no longer strutting with his CEO confidence, James his designer suit somehow looking less impressive, Elizabeth clutching her portfolio like a shield, and Mom trying to maintain her social butterfly demeanor despite her obvious discomfort. "Please sit," I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. "Kevin, the reports?" He distributed sleek folders containing the quarterly performance reviews. The contrast between my family's remaining 15% collective ownership and my controlling stake was clearly outlined in the first page. "As you can see," I began, "our pivot to sustainable technologies has increased market capitalization by 62% since the leadership change. Our new talent acquisition program has brought in top executives from Google, Tesla, and Apple. Those tech people," Dad muttered, "they don't understand our traditional client base." "Our traditional client base," I interrupted, pulling up a holographic display, "has grown by 300% since we modernized. The Peterson Global app has 50 million active users. Our clean energy division just signed contracts worth $8.7 billion. Elizabeth flipped through the reports frantically. "But the real estate division has been completely restructured," I finished. "We're now the largest developer of smart cities in North America. That risky, AI-driven urban planning system I proposed 2 years ago, the one you all dismissed, it's now our most profitable division." James cleared his throat. "About my position has been filled," I said firmly. "Though I hear Goldman Sachs is hiring. Of course, they might look up your performance records here first." Mom dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "Darling, at the country club." "I've already declined the membership you tried to arrange," I said. "I'm too busy sitting on the boards of 3 Fortune 50 companies and advising the Commerce Department on technology policy." The silence that followed was broken only by the gentle hum of my quantum-secured trading terminal, displaying real-time global market data. "Now," I continued, "about your remaining shares. You have 2 options. You can stay as passive investors receiving quarterly dividends that, I should mention, have tripled under my leadership. Or, Dad leaned forward. "I'll buy you out. Market price plus 20%. One-time offer, decision required today." They exchanged glances, decades of family power dynamics crumbling in real time. "Before you decide," I added, pulling up another holographic display, "you should know that Bloomberg is running a feature next week. Sarah Peterson, the silent strategist who revolutionized a dynasty. The Wall Street Journal already ran their piece. How a dismissed daughter built a better billion-dollar empire." Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her water glass. "The social implications are excellent," Kevin interjected, displaying social media metrics. "Ms. Peterson's leadership has been praised as a model of modern corporate governance. The company's reputation score is at an all-time high. The family legacy," Dad began, "is stronger than ever," I cut in. "Just not in the way you planned. The Peterson name now represents innovation, not stagnation. Progress, not privilege." I stood up, straightening my custom-tailored suit. "You have until the end of business day to decide about your shares. Either way, the quarterly shareholders meeting is next week. Try to be on time, though you'll be sitting in the general audience section, not at the board table." "The general audience?" Elizabeth looked horrified. "Yes, with the other minority shareholders. Don't worry, the seating is quite comfortable. I had it upgraded along with everything else you said couldn't be improved." As they rose to leave, looking shell-shocked, I added one final point. "Oh, and the annual family Christmas party? It will be held here this year. The guest list includes several world leaders and tech billionaires. Do try to keep up with the conversations about quantum computing and neural networks." Kevin held the door as they filed out, then turned to me. Your next appointment is with the Secretary of Commerce, followed by the Tesla board meeting. I nodded, already focusing on my next series of acquisitions. On my desk, a new text message appeared from James. You planned this for years, didn't you? I smiled, remembering all the dismissed ideas, the patronizing pats on the head, the exclusions from serious business discussions. My reply was simple. Next time, maybe include everyone in the family business meetings. The New York skyline stretched out before me, Peterson Global's newly redesigned logo shining atop our expanding tech campus. In the reflection of my office window, I could see the future of the company, and it looked nothing like the past they'd tried so hard to preserve.